Hello TechBees, welcome. So now you all have become employees of this company and we have a platter of elements that guide your growth within the company. Let me talk about a few of these. Now as an organization, we have a full-fledged skilling and training arm which makes you a better corporate citizen. Now by this what I mean is, through this arm you get to speak well, you get to understand the nuances of what happens in a corporate environment, be able to navigate within the corporate environment. It also, this particular functional element gives you abilities to be able to speak up, to understand the policies, to understand the expectations of your managers, expectations of your customers, expectations of your peers, how to work with them, how not to work with them, what to watch out for, what not to watch out for, etc. Now these are done in such a way that these are short, power-packed capsules or modules that are strewn over a period of time. So that way it's not like all learning comes to you in just one day and you're expected to absorb. Some of these takes a bit of time. So I'm happy to introduce some of these programs. You will be able to see on the web page that you have access to what these programs are. You should be able to enroll and we'll have somebody help you go through the learning as well. The second thing that I want to talk about is, as you work on certain areas of technology, certain areas of domain, you will have natural questions which are upward learning questions, seeking questions as to why does something work the way it is? Why does some piece of code behave the way it is behaving? Why would somebody call, use a particular terminology? What are the metrics that are used within my domain? If somebody says there's something called the same store sales, for example, what is this metric? Where does this come into effect? Which industry uses it? Why should this be an important parameter for that industry? How does it relate to me as an employee from the standpoint of coding or testing or managing an infrastructure element and so on? Now, this understanding is called the domain understanding. The first part of the technology is deep technology understanding that you will need to solve customers' problems. At the end of the day, what are we doing? We are here solving customers' pain points, through their IT systems, enhancing their efficiencies, enhancing the output that they get to their end customers through the IT systems that we either design, develop, test, deploy, or maintain. Right? Now these IT systems encompass a whole range. It encompasses the infrastructure piece, which is the physical hardware on which they run. The hardware can be computing hardware, it can be telephony hardware, it can be networking hardware, it can be end user device hardware like a PC, a laptop, a mobile phone, what have you, right? So that's the infrastructure piece. There's many more than this. It could be storage and so on. Beyond this, there's the software piece, which is the code that one writes or one imports from somewhere, makes changes to, builds and deploys. The third is the code that's resident somewhere, to which you try and make a bit of tweak to solve problems which otherwise would be left unsolved and customer experience would be lesser. Now, for us to do this, deep understanding of that technology is required. So the two things, I talked about same store sales as an example, that's a domain flavor. Domain is within that particular industry. Like many of us are familiar, many of us sitting here in India, we all have mobile phones. Now, how does a mobile phone company, a telecom operator, look at as a key metric? What does one look at as a key metric? What they look at is one key metric is called ARPU, ARPU, average revenue per user. So that tells them how their company is performing. It's a domain knowledge, right? Now you will need to translate this ARPU within your software, your area of work always. So ARPU is a goal that the senior management of that telecom company have, is one of the goals. Now you got to be able to relate to how does your work contribute to the ARPU. Similarly, in a retail industry, you would see something called a same store sales. What's the same store sales? The same store sales is you got a store, which is a dukaan. Now, in that store, how does the sales change month on month, year on year? So, same store sales is within that store, between the last review period and this review period, how has the sales changed? So if your same store sales remains same, it's okay, it's good. If it's come down, it's not a good sign. If it's gone up, it's a good sign, very good sign. Now you got to see how your work contributes to same store sales. Understanding such intricacies in every particular domain and industry are critical for your success. That's on the domain side. Similarly, on the technology side, there will be so many questions. It could be a query, it could be a piece of code, it could be a command, a tool that you want to know how to use, how not to use, and so on. Now, where do you go to seek answers to these? You can, of course, go to your seniors within your project or account, but there's also a platform that we give you as a company called Mentor Me. All that you need to do is you need to log on to find Mentor Me in myhcl.com and log on to it, sign up, look for the groups or areas of interest that you're interested in, that you want to learn, sign up there. There'll be a circle as other, or there'll be communities where it's basically people like you who have common interests to understand certain subjects. These communities will come together on a regular basis, help clear the air in terms of what the technology piece is or the domain pieces, domain knowledge is, and so on. Now that's a platform that we have for you. Now this is just from a learning standpoint. There's also internal, so some of these happens on a peer-to-peer. This is a peer-to-peer, Mentor Me is a peer-to-peer learning platform. There's somebody who is like a virtual guru types who sometimes can be assigned as a mentor circle lead. A circle is a community and there's a circle leader who's more like a guru or subject matter expert. Doesn't necessarily need to be greater in number of years of experience, but more knowledgeable, more functionally knowledgeable in that area. There are internal learning portals and tools. Some of them are self-learning. You will be able to find these in our success factors learning. You can go into MyHCL and just put I learn. You'll be able to see what training modules are relevant for you, and you can enroll yourself into those modules. Again, they are there across domains, across technology areas. That's the second thing. The third thing is, as you become a better and better corporate personality, you got to keep yourself abreast on what needs to be done, what should not be done, what are certain critical elements of success within the organization, for yourself, and for the end customer. Things to do with InfoSec policies, things to do with data privacy, things to do with cyber security, things to do with workplace behavior, things to do with how to even communicate with somebody, things to do with what are the right practices to administer within your work environment, right practices to administer when you work with customers, vendors, and other partners. How clean should one be? What cleanliness means to us as an organization, and so on and so forth. All these are available as modules that you can go through. Some are mandatory modules. Why they're made mandatory is because we as an organization have a very high standard of beliefs and values. We would like for you to go through these, make sure that you've learnt these, and there are quizzes at the end of these mandatory programs that you need to clear. And it's not just about clearing these and getting yourself certified, it's about behaving oneself. Now, we expect that you will be completely in compliance with the policies and what the modules have to state on our core areas that we stand for as a company.